Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Joey Porter Jr. gets high praise from Steelers legend Mel Blount. Pittsburgh Steelers cornerback Joey Porter Jr. had one of his best games of the season Sunday night during the team's 37-15 win over the New York Jets. According to the Pro Football Focus numbers, he yielded just one reception for 9 yards over the course of 57 defensive snaps. That was despite having to follow the likes of Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson during the game, with future Hall of Famer Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball. It's the fourth time this year Porter has allowed 2 or fewer catches in a game. Prior to the contest, Porter received the praise of Steelers Hall of Famer cornerback Mel Blount. He was on hand for the 50th anniversary ceremony to honor the 1974 Super Bowl IX championship team. "I think Joey is a great young talent. He is playing well," Blount said. "He is only going to get better. We're blessed to have him." Blount says he can remember Porter as a young kid while his father, Joey Porter Sr., was an All-Pro linebacker with the Steelers from 1999 to 2006. "I know Joey. I know his dad," Blount said. "I knew him when he was growing up here in Pittsburgh. I think he is really someone you can build your secondary around." Like Blount, 6'3", 205, Porter Jr., 6'2", 194, has all the size and physical tools needed to play the position of cornerback in the NFL. The 24-year-old just has to refine his craft in a way that Blount did. A criticism of Porter dating back to his days at Penn State is that he can play with his hands too much and that he grabs too much for the officials' liking. Last year, he was flagged 12 times. He has drawn 4 penalties this year, 1 for pass interference, 2 for defensive holding and another for illegal use of hands. But Blount says those issues can be overcome. "It's all a part of learning," Blount said. "This is just his second year. He is going to get better. He is going to learn how to get on these receivers without penalties. But it is tough to play defense now. That's just a part of it, pass interference. If you can keep it to a minimum and make the plays when you are supposed to make them, I think he is going to be just fine." During Tuesday's press conference, Mike Tomlin also had good things to say about Porter's development. "I thought Joey was really solid," Tomlin said of Porter's performance Sunday. "He's getting more solid because of the attention to detail and the urgency that he's taken to practice. He's really evolving as a developing professional in terms of where to set his energy and focus his energies in practice settings." Chad Johnson, "Have no idea how Steelers' defense is going to be able to defend Ravens' offense. There's still a lot of time left in the season, but at the moment, it looks like the AFC North is a 2-horse race. The Cincinnati Bengals are starting to get back on track, but the Pittsburgh Steelers and Baltimore Ravens are both rolling. Like many times before, the games between the Steelers and Ravens could decide who wins the division." Former Bengals wide receiver Chad Ochocinco-Johnson isn't sure how the Steelers' defense will match up against the Ravens' offense, though. "To me, the threat really isn't at the receiver position," Johnson said on a recent episode of Nightcap. "They are threats, obviously, when it's time for Lamar Jackson to throw, as good as he's gotten as far as his pocket presence and being able to deliver the ball, but that goddamn Derrick Henry. Can TJ Watt really rush up the field and lose contain like he wants to? Everything has to change when you play the Ravens. I have no idea how Mike Tomlin and that defense is going to be able to defend them. That's a fair thing to wonder about. The Ravens may have had a slow start to the season, but they have been on a tear recently." Johnson is correct in saying Henry has been a huge key to their success. At running back, he's a true difference maker. The Ravens and Steelers have always been physical teams, and Henry should fit right into that mold. The Steelers have had the Ravens' number over the past few years. Since Jackson entered the league, the Steelers are 8-4 against the Ravens. However, this year could be their biggest challenge in recent memory. The Ravens are on a 5-game win streak, characterized by incredible offensive output. There's still time before either of their games against the Ravens. In 3 weeks, they'll get their home game against Baltimore, but they'll have to wait more than a month before the rematch. So much can change before both of those games. If Jackson and Henry are healthy, though, look for those games to be knockdown, drag-out brawls. Henry is the NFL's leading rusher, and Jackson is in the running for MVP. This year's games might be reminiscent of when the Ravens had other bruising backs like Willis McGahee and Le'Ron McClain. The Steelers managed to win their fair share of battles against those players, though, and their defense has once again been one of the best this year. Currently, Fox Sports lists the Steelers as having the third-best run defense in the NFL. Johnson may not see a world where the Steelers can stop the Ravens, but it won't be impossible. It might be like when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. Sparks will fly, and it should make for 2 excellent football games. Aaron Rodgers gets honest about loss to Steelers. After starting the 2024 NFL regular season with a record of 2-4, the New York Jets decided to shake things up by making a trade with the Las Vegas Raiders to acquire superstar wide receiver Davante Adams to reunite with veteran quarterback Aaron Rodgers, who had a lot of success as a duo playing for the Green Bay Packers. Although the addition of Adams and the recent firing of head coach Robert Saleh seemed to give the team a bit of a spark and some optimism that they could turn things around this season, New York fell flat in Week 7 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, as they scored only 15 points and gave up a season-high 37 to Mike Tomlin's squad and Russell Wilson's first start with the team. This marked the 4th straight loss for the Jets, further complicating the situation in New York, as frustrations must be hitting a boiling point, as it remains uncertain whether Rodgers and company can get back on track and still have a chance to make the NFL playoffs. In the aftermath of the loss to the Steelers, Rodgers made an appearance on the Pat McAfee show and talked about what went wrong and getting Adams up to speed. The Steelers had a good plan and there weren't a lot of outside freebies. There was a few opportunities that we had, but Davante Adams hadn't played in a couple weeks. You're gonna see his role expand as we move forward, Rodgers said. In Week 8, the Jets will go on the road to face the equally desperate division rival New England Patriots at Gillette Stadium in a must-win game. Only time will tell if the Jets can get back on track this season and if the Rodgers experiment turns out to be the right move for the team or just another failed attempt to become a title contender in the AFC. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Aaron Rodgers? Leave your opinion in the comments.